let's get into best writing. We'll just keep this moving along. I'm going to read the nominees, and I think this one's pretty self-explanatory, I think, but it's like writing overall. It's not best story, and it's not best character, but I think it's the best combination of all those things for the most part. We have another category, best new character, but this is just like character writing, dialogue, plot, everything. Incidental world writing as well. So the nominees are Wolfenstein 2, What Remains of Edith Finch, Yakuza 0, I guess a lot of these I just kind of put on here just because I thought they should be. Nier Automata, Night in the Woods, Horizon Zero Dawn, Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, Torment, Tides of Numenera. That would have been Jason. Who's probably not going to be able to be here to argue for that one. And Divinity Original Sin 2, I think is the name. Are there any that we should add to here?
I think that about does it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really think of any of them.
Yeah. No,
you two have kind of already made your cases for Wolfenstein 2 and for Edith Finch.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. That's
yeah,
true.
and the talking about the payoff with the ring is kind of the same example I would use here. So we can kind of maybe get into some of these other ones if we want. Real quick, Mike, would you add the Uncharted game?
It's like the rating's bad. The rating is good, but I don't know if that's not like the standout thing on that one. I would be fine not necessarily adding it because it's not going to win. I don't think that's fine.
Okay. Well, Stephanie, let's start.
I think Horizon was written better than it.
Okay. I think I could see that. Stephanie, is there anything here that stands out to you that you want to talk about?
Well, I love Night in the Woods. Like I was one of the Kickstarter backers, and I waited like 4 years for this game. And it didn't disappoint me, which I was worried. I went in being like, "There's no way that this is gonna live up to my expectations after all these little side games that they released and all the anticipation." But I think it's great. I love that Infinite Fall, the developers came up with this term Rust Belt Gothic because they're from the Midwest, and the whole sort of theme behind the game is just exploring this like decaying town where like people have left, the jobs are leaving. And just like the main character, May, drops out of college and comes back home. And she's like trying to reconnect with her friends. And I just think like the writing is really great. It's really cheeky. I could see it sort of rubbing people the wrong way because it's a little millennial, But I think it's like, it just like sort of covers like a whole swath of topics from like class issues to like interpersonal issues to like depression and mental health to like family, drama. So I just think like it's just a great story. It's one of those games where you could play several times, I think, because it's impossible to sort of talk to everyone and do everything. And it just like comes together as a really great package.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet, but I've been watching some streams here and there to kind of get an idea. And it does seem like it's writing of a different type than you normally see in games, and it's of a maybe not higher caliber, but a high enough caliber that they're pulling off this different thing in a way that it feels very fresh. It just feels very unique in the world that it exists compared to other games. Mike or Stephanie, do either of you want to go to bat for Nier Automata?
Your talk this is so weird and fun.
So I listened to a couple spoiler casts. I read some stories from people explaining why they like this game. And it sounds like if I do keep playing, I might actually end up liking this game, just based on what happens.
Well, I still don't know what you don't like.
It's boring.
Tell me.
Okay, yeah. If you want me to just,
it's boring.
Yeah, it's boring. It's like it's boring, and the mechanics aren't very exciting, even when they are switching from one thing to another. And
because this actually is the one complaint I do with the game. I do think it's kind of easy.
Yeah. Oh god,
it's very easy. Yeah.
I got it to the point where it is basically playing itself now. But even when it wasn't, or if I turn that stuff off, it's like I'm just kind of going through the motions here. It's just like a wave of small little robots attacking me, and I gotta fight through almost an absurd number of them at some points. Like, and it doesn't feel like there's any point to that. Like I'm not learning anything new. I'm not discovering anything special about the game. I'm not finding any depth in the combat by doing this stuff. And then on top of that, I mean, the world is desolate for a reason. I get that. I honestly do now at this point. And I kind of guessed it too, just based on some of the stuff. I'm like, okay, I know what one of the twists is here. So, but still, it's a boring world to run from one place to another in. It's not like I'm gonna be stumbling across a lot of incidental writing. I'm not gonna find moments where there's something that happened here, and now I understand that. Maybe maybe the like abandoned amusement park has some of that stuff, but you kind of get like it's one big giant metaphor. You kind of get it. So yeah, I don't know. There's other reasons. I just think the actual playing of the game is boring.
Yeah, I can see that. You're like just spamming the pod button basically.
Right, and that's what I mean. I end up doing that most of the time in this first playthrough, especially. I think the writing's pretty predictable. I understand now it does go to some places that are like the real shit. Like it gets into it in a real way, but it's so far from where I was at. That said, that moment with the little robots at the beginning of the second playthrough, it's like, okay, I'm already starting to see like they're going to show me some more stuff. They're going to get to the heart of these characters, and some of these characters are just these robot communities or whatever. I like that stuff, but yeah, I don't know. Mike, you've played all the way through. Stephanie, you're further than me. Is there something in the writing that you guys think is worthy of recognizing here?
I mean, most of the writing, you're kind of right. It's not like there's not a lot of incidental or even really environmental writing. The writing is characters talking to each other. That's pretty much where it all is. And that stuff's good. It's on the nose. Like I said, it's very Kojima-esque, right? Where it's kind of a little weighty. I don't know if weighty is not the word. It's a little
melodramatic. It's a little anime.
It takes itself.
It's super weeby.
Yeah.
Super weeby. Even like maybe a game that I didn't nominate, maybe would have was Persona 5. Which, when I think about it, maybe it's just because it has a lot of writing.
Most writing.
Yeah,
one for that.
The most writing award. Yeah. It's,
I don't want to make it, because I'm not saying it's bad writing by any means. I just want to know if it's good, like as you guys get further in.
I don't know if like the writing is specifically what makes it good. I guess it does in a way. Like
it seems like it's got a lot of good
things. Like, what is writing sometimes?
Yeah.
Well, I think the strength of the writing isn't necessarily in. I think it's sort of like J.K. Rowling.
Like,
stick with me. Yeah. So the Harry Potter books are not poetic. Like the writing itself isn't like that attractive, but the way she plots, and the way it comes together as like a mystery. I feel like that's how it is with Nier. Like, the actual writing itself isn't great, but what the strength is the way later playthroughs can recontextualize earlier scenes that sort of lend them extra meaning. So that would be my argument for it, but I also don't think it's, like, super high-quality writing, to be totally honest.
It feels like it is doing some very good workman-like writing in some very unique video gamey ways, and that's not like video gaming is a dismissive pejorative. It's video gamey is like, this is stuff that can only happen in video games kind of way.
Yeah.
And some of that stuff I think is very impressive, and it seems like it like does get to those places. But I think there's some shortfalls as well. But I don't know.
It's a little laughable sometimes. Like, the one of the bosses is literally screaming, "Nothing matters anymore" at you. And I was like, "Oh, jeez." But
they also like nail some of those very quotable moments that become as gods and stuff like that. They get that. They nail that stuff. So
yeah, that was pretty good, and the way it was incorporated into the music, stuff, it's pretty neat.
Right. And I think all that's part of the world building, part of the writing, and I don't know. I'm conflicted. Maybe it'll squeak onto our final three. Mike,
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Mike, Horizon Zero Dawn?
Yeah, I think that one was one where I liked the writing of it quite a bit. I thought the characters were good. They did a really good job of like making your like father character kind of likable and interesting in the beginning. Just like a lot of the kind of incidental characters you would meet, just side characters, they all seem to be kind of fleshed out. You kind of understood where they were coming from, what was going on. I think there's a lot of world building done through the writing, which was fun. I guess as I think about it, the one thing maybe I lost at beta is like the overall quote unquote plot sometimes wasn't that exciting. It's like, as I think about it now, like I kind of remember like a lot of things, but I don't like remember. Like, I'm trying to think, what did I do at the end of that game? I saved everyone somehow. Can't quite exactly remember how, but something happened.
With
But-
stealth. With stealth.
That's right.
Yeah, there's something. But yeah, I can't quite exactly remember. But it was good.
Yeah, I would echo that. Just it's got very good world building. I like the background information, everything that's sort of propping up all your personal interactions, like all the different tribes and stuff. I mentioned this yesterday. I thought that stuff was very cool and kind of gets me more and more interested. And it's clearly they have a good foundation here. And it, maybe I haven't beaten the game. Maybe the plot doesn't fully pay off, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Hellblade. I brought up Hellblade just because it does seem there's the writing of the story. I think might go one way or the other. I'm not going to beat this game. I'm just not enjoying the actual playthrough enough. I might watch it maybe, but I still wanted to bring it up here because even in the first 2 hours that I did play, the way that the voices in her head were written, it felt very, like, I don't know if realistic's the right word. It felt truthful. It never felt embarrassing. It never felt like, oh, this is just trying to play up insanity for the effect of it. They're just trying to use it as a special effect. It felt like, no, this seems pretty honest. And the things that they're saying is not just like, oh, wacky out there stuff. It just seems like it's playing on the emotions the character's feeling at the time, and all these voices are just putting words to those various feelings that she's experiencing all at once, and all that stuff was very good, and I was really impressed with that. Maybe there's some other elements here. I don't know. I'm not sure how much you guys have played, but that's what stuck out to me.
Yeah, it's like again, I don't know if it's realistic or what, but at least what I liked about it is that it was kind of different, right? It was something new. And that really does kind of carry the game through some of its other problems, is that it really does feel unique, specifically through the writing. Like, the writing is doing a lot of the work in keeping that game interesting.
Yeah, I was going to start on that tonight. But I think to the point of the voices, I wonder how much of it is the voice acting and how much of it is the writing, because I've seen some playthroughs of it online, and it seems like all the deliveries are just like really fantastic, and the acting, just the mocap and everything is just really kind of eerie. Almost.
Yeah,
and you guys were saying,
oh yeah,
too,
for
right?
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike's saying he thinks that one character was like actual, like almost FMV. I'm not sure. Like the guy that appeared in that vision very early in the game. I'm like, whatever it was so realistic behind this fog that that was another thing that blew me away. But I also think that there is some writing elements in there that also made that good. I don't know. The delivery is very good. So yeah, it's hard to separate those two. But yeah, we could touch on some of these other ones real quick. I haven't played Torment. I have played some Divinity, but not enough.
I've played a bit of Divinity too. The writing is definitely good, but I haven't played enough of it.
Right. It feels like it's like a really well written one of those computer RPGs, or just like any RPG. Like if it's a really good written RPG campaign.
Whenever there's a genre that kind of needs the good writing, right?
Exactly.
Is Tides of Numenera like Planescape at all? Like, is the writing similar? Because I've played Planescape.
Right. I mean, it's supposed to be inspired by.
Yeah, it's a spiritual successor.
Like
yeah, but I'm not sure if the writing is similar or not. I don't know.
Yeah, because if I recall, the writing was a little dry in Planescape, just for my personal taste. But it had so many interesting ideas and descriptive imagery, and just like a lot of world building, which is very impressive.
Right. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons that game is so revered.
Yeah.
And apparently Tides of Numenera does a lot of that stuff really well. I just don't know.
Yeah.
Yakuza 0, I just threw it on here because I thought I'd play more of it by now, and I didn't.
I love Yakuza.
You're a liar.
I'm a liar.
Hey, there you go.
Did you play Yakuza 0, Stephanie?
I played Yakuza Kiwami.
Okay, yeah.
And because I went and being like, oh, it's just gonna be a macho gangster thing, whatever. And then I was like, oh my god, I love you.
Yeah, I think it has. It does seem like it has a very sweet center. There's something about it.
Yeah,
like,
it's very.
Yeah,
goofy.
like the characters are silly and also try to take themselves seriously, but that's happening inside the context of the game, and the developers all know that these are all silly characters, and that stuff really works for me. I don't know, but I haven't played enough of it to really get it on this list. My list for this would probably be Wolfenstein 2, Edith Finch, and then I don't know, maybe Night in the Woods, but I haven't played that. Maybe Nier Automata. So I don't know. Would you guys what would your guys' list look like?
guess if I had to put one of the ones I talk about, how to say it, yeah, maybe Nier. Nier's just so weird. I love Nier.
I would go with Night in the Woods over. I love Edith Finch and I love Night in the Woods, so it's a little tough. But I think I would go with Night in the Woods over Edith Finch just because it has so much personality, and it's, as you said, Jeff, it's not really the kind of writing you see in games that often. And I think that the sheer amount of dialogue that's in that game and just the way it really crafts the characters is really unique. So I would want that on the list.
So would you guys be okay with Wolfenstein 2, Night in the Woods, Nier Automata? I mean, if I need, if I need to, I'll like make a whole other case for Wolfenstein 2. But I mean, I honestly think it's one of the best written games ever.
I need to. I'm still really early.
Yeah.
I just got out of. No, I've been out of the wheelchair for a little bit now. I think I'm in the power suit.
All those early moments, like they feel very raw at the beginning, but they all pay off. And then there's, that's just the stuff that's presented in cutscenes. If you explore the ship in between missions, you're going to find a bunch of little stories. Like there's a really good one with Max Haas, who's this really big, strong guy who has his head done in. He's clearly is dealing with some mental incapacity, but he behaves as a child. But he's clearly seen things that I think a lot of other people don't, and they show that early in the game by he beats the super genius on your team. I can't remember his name, but he's like the Dayashud, Jewish mystical scientist guy. He beats him at chess, and it's like, well, how did that happen? But then you start to see like, oh no, he's like this really intelligent artist. He sees things visually that other people don't, and the way they tell this story is slowly through. Like as you go and check on his on this mural that he's making in his room, it slowly changes over time, and you could see a lot of the really cool elements in that painting.
It's really cool.
And it's like there's not a lot of words to that. This character only says Max Haas, but this is all written into the game, and it's just the way that they present it is visually, and it's super cool. And there's a ton of stuff like that. And I just really impressed with the writing in that one. So. I don't know. I would pick that as the winner for this category, but I don't know.
You seem feel more strongly about that than I do of any of the kind of games I would think about. So I'm fine if you wanted to give it.
And you guys, I mean, I figured we'd be going to this and maybe Nier Automata. But you guys seem to have some reservations about that, just some.
Yeah.
I think the plot points stuck with me more than the actual writing. Like I think the beats that they
and that's an important part
design.
Of it.
I mean, it is kind of like B-movie anime trash, but I love it.
With a really impressive structure is what it sounds like. It's got some. Yeah. It's like all the moment-to-moment stuff is that B-movie trash, but what it's doing structurally is really impressive, and that's where the good writing comes in. Okay, I could accept that. And Night in the Woods. I mean, would you? Because I feel very strongly about Wolfenstein, but I want to know if you feel that strongly about Night in the Woods.
I do feel strongly about it, but I also think that your mileage may vary with it. Like for me, it really stuck with me. Like it came out in January, I think, and I still think about it, and I have the soundtrack, that I bought that I listened to because I think that I think his name is. What is his name? Alec Holowka, I think is his name. He also did the soundtrack for Towerfall.
Okay.
It's just the whole, I think it's such a great experience. But because you guys haven't played it, and I don't think it's for everyone, I wouldn't argue, vehemently about it. But I do think for me, it's going to be
that's totally yeah.
For my Game of the Year list.
Hey, we'll move on to the next one then. I think Wolfenstein 2 can take this. I'll try to think. I mean, I do think some people might not. It might not be for everybody because it is gonna be violent and it'll be hard to get past some of that stuff. And it does not really care about the tone it's trying to present you. I think that's a deliberate choice, and it works really well because sometimes it's done deliberately to make the point. Like, this is a silly game about Nazis. Like that's absurd, right? But the things they put around the silly Nazis, that's where all of their subtext is, and that's really important. So those various tones. That's not a problem. It's not some issue, but I think some people will see that as a tone problem. But I don't know. I still think it's probably the.
Yeah, I think it's. It's interesting that you're talking about these emotional beats because just from my very limited playtime in it, like I was just a little like, oh, these Nazis are kind of over the top,
Right.
you know. So I'm interested to get the meat of the story.
Yeah, and the point is that the Nazis aren't. I mean, they're the bad guys because they're Nazis in the game Wolfenstein, and they're Nazis. But it's all the things existing around the Nazis. That's where they make their point. That's what matters, and that's what they did so well. Okay. All right. So Wolfenstein 2. Oop. And then the runner-ups are Nier Automata and Night in the Woods. All right. Let's get through this last category. I think this one will probably go